Welcome to the Oddity Shop, where the bizarre is always on sale.
Welcome back, you oddballs. I'm Kara, and this is my beautiful co-host, soulmate, twin flame, Zach.
Hello.
You see how that's done? Yeah. If you guys listen to the last episode, you would know. You know.
I just feel like there should be more syllables when you introduce somebody's name.
Zachary Tadeus Balmer.
See, there we go. Now I feel introduced. Okay, this is
this is the Oddity Shop podcast where
all I wanted to say is the story of a girl.
All I wanna do.
We have to stop. We've been karaokeing right before this. Okay, this is the podcast where we sometimes karaoke, but mostly talk about creepy, weird, odd, conspiracy stuff. Mysteriousness. Yeah, anything kind of supernatural. Creepy. Cool. We're going to give our 2 cents. Our references, if you want to check our facts, are in the show notes. Or if you just want to learn a little bit more.
And also, this is just a quick little disclaimer, because I don't know if people know, and it doesn't really matter, but we are not the podcast where we record every week, but we don't write and record every week. So we're not current to when you're listening to this. We've recorded ahead. So if we miss out on some current events and things, or we don't address things, I don't want people to be mad at us. It's just because we are quite a bit ahead.
Oh, yeah. So when we talk about things we actually did it a month ago. So speaking of that, a month ago.
I'm just saying, if we're missing crazy things in the world that maybe we should be touching on, it's not because we don't care.
We just don't want to be behind.
Or we're in the past. We are in the past. Okay.
But about a month ago,
what you got?
I want to give a shout out to somebody. So my parents do a 4th of July parade in their neighborhood every year, and it's the coolest thing. But after the parade, they invite the whole community up to the hall.
It's just so cute.
It is. It's the best. So they invite the whole community up to the hall, and we give out hot dogs and stuff, and just have a cake for the grand marshal.
Oh my God.
But this is the first year I've worked it. I decided to stop watching, and mostly because my mom gave me a job. So I got to be the hot dog giver outer, and we went through 200 hot dogs in 30 minutes.
The hot dog giver outer.
The hot dog giver outer. Well, I wasn't selling them, so I can't say hot dog salesperson. But anyways, Megan, who has always given us love on our show from day one, came through the line, and got to see her for a minute. I wish I would have gotten to talk to you more, but it was nice to see you.
Aw, you gave her a hot dog.
I gave her a hot dog. The more you dwell
Megan,
on that sentence.
I hope you loved Zach's hot dog.
Okay, and moving on. I was trying to do something nice there.
Wait, what's this new... Wait, now that we're on this, because I don't understand our world anymore. What is this new lingo, or whatever
Glizzy?
The word is? Yeah, what the fuck?
I think it came from New York. They, for some reason, called hot dogs glizzies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are we all of a... Okay, I'm over
Probably
it,
TikTok.
I didn't really want to know, but I just want to what? Okay.
What's going on in your world?
Okay, well, actually, first off, I just want to say that Colby Brock beat cancer. Fuck cancer. And Sam and Colby do have merch out right now that is 100% proceeds go to awareness for cancer, or
oh, awesome.
Not awareness, awareness,
research.
But pre whatever
Pre-cancer screening.
Yes, thank you, something like that.
Preventative healthcare.
Preventative, thank you.
I got
Christ.
you.
So anyway, I just think that's really cool. I haven't ordered anything yet. I need to, but it all just says fuck cancer, which I think is cool. So fuck cancer, and I just wanted to say that.
That gives me 2010 Warped Tour merch table.
It's cool.
I love it.
It's cool. And I don't know if you've watched any of their drop videos for it. It's cool. And it's all their friends. And he did this video, and it's really, I have goosebumps. He did this video about how he's talking about how he beat it and he got through it. And it's all of everybody, all his friends' voicemails that he got. And he plays all their voicemails. I love you. You got this, Colby. I'm here for you. And it's so sad. And I was crying through it. And I was oh my God. Well, it's sad. No matter who you are, even if you hated somebody and you heard that, it's sad. Anyway, there's that. So go buy that. Even if you don't care about them, it still goes to a good cause. So fuck cancer. But I did something that you're going to be very happy. What have you been asking me to listen to forever? Dude.
Give me a second. I'll cut the silence. What have I been telling you this? I don't know. Is it a podcast? Did you listen to Greg and Dana?
I did.
And?
I am totally tripped out. So first off, what possessed me to listen to it today? Couldn't tell you. Could not tell you. But I was like, I'm going to listen to it, right? Because I do like them. I appreciate them and whatever. I've been wanting to. This is just so weird because I remember months ago you told me that it's so creepy, the what's the word I can never say? Between their stuff and what we put out.
I actually learned about synchronicities from Greg and Dana.
So I'm sitting there, right? And I'm getting ready this morning and it's like early. And I go to the first episode because I wanted to start from the bottom and go up. Tell me why today, because again, I just said we're ahead. Today dropped our Amityville episode.
Yep.
Their first episode is Amityville.
Mm-hmm.
So I was listening to Amityville the day I literally just listened to our Amityville and put it out on social media.
Wait till you get about through their next couple episodes.
Okay.
It just lines up with, because we launched at almost the same time as them. We didn't even know they were launching.
Well, we launched in October. They launched in November. So yeah, it's like right. Okay.
It was within 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's their first episode, which I had no idea. And I was like, this is weird. And then I remembered that you're like, oh, yeah, whatever. Then I've only listened to the first 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Then I get to the second one.
Yeah.
Which now this is all their haunted objects. So it's their.
Was this the mirror?
Dark mirror.
Yeah.
Shit my pants on the way.
Because your story and their stories were almost hand in hand. Yours was
Bloody
recorded.
Mary episode?
Yes. Yours was recorded when that one came out. That's why I was freaking out. When
I tell you that I was like, okay, yes. So it's very weird because he talks about the psychomantium. He talks, you
guys like, hit the exact same topics. Yeah.
Dead. This is what really creeped me out because in my brain, because I'm driving home and I've an hour drive home. And I'm like thinking, because they were like, Dana, have you looked in this mirror? And she's like, no, I don't want to. Like, it's in my home. I just don't, blah, blah. And Greg hadn't either. And I'm thinking in my head, like, if I had this mirror, would I look into it? And I'm thinking they discovered that this mirror that they have, I'm trying to make this short, but the mirror that they had, they discovered on all these like events or whatever tours that they take it on. People are realizing that they see their deepest, darkest fears in the mirror.
Some people do. Yes.
Some people, but that's kind of what they were figuring, that maybe that's what it holds, is like, it shows you your deepest fear. In my brain, I was thinking, I don't know what my deepest fear is. My true, like, I have fears in life, but my true fear. So in my head, I'm thinking I wouldn't look into it because I don't want to know what my deepest fear is to overanalyze it. Tell me the fuck why. At like almost the end of the episode, Greg says, I guess I don't want to look into it because I don't really basically don't
like,
really want to know what my deepest fear is.
Yeah.
Because I don't want, and I'm like,
I am so sad because they're usually at Paracon and they have not shown up on the lineup yet. I'm hoping, but it's too close now.
Yeah, I think. But yeah, anyway, so
it's called Greg and Dana's Haunted Object Pod. If you like anything
Haunted
we cover,
Objects podcast.
You'll love them though. Like, if you guys like what we're doing, you will love them, and they are way better researched than us.
But I've only listened to 2 episodes and I'm shook.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if I can
now
continue.
You need to go on Amazon and watch their documentary Hellier. And they're about to put out a new documentary called The Unbinding. Anyways, I could go on all day.
Yeah, sorry. I just couldn't get I couldn't get over that.
You're good. Are you ready for a question though?
Well, did you have anything? Oh no, you told us your hot dogs.
Yeah.
Your glizzies.
The glizzies. That's about it.
Okay. I'm ready for my question. Yes.
Cool.
I have sweaty palms and sweaty pits. Let's go.
Gross. Okay. So what was like the biggest urban legend or warning from your childhood that you would thought would be a bigger deal in adult life that wasn't? Like, like quicksand or the boogie monster, like things that...
The boogeyman?
I wrote boogie monster. I meant boogeyman.
It sounded very weird at first. And then I was like, wait, am I wrong? Okay, I think, not that I was maybe worried about, I guess, but my biggest thing that I guess I was always like curious with was the Hookman legend. And that's why I did it as one of our episodes, because that was like one of those urban-y things that I was always like, what the hell?
I was always sandstorms.
But is that an urban legend?
Well, like, not urban legend. I said urban legend or warning. Like, like quicksand.
Oh, warning.
You know how it was always like...
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? That's actually a fear that reminded me of, because when I was little, I did always think that somehow I was going to end up in quicksand. Maybe it's because I was obsessed with a mummy.
Oh.
So I think I always thought that I was going to marry Brendan Fraser.
Or like scarabs were going to eat you. Turns out they don't do that at all.
No, and actually they're good luck. And now I have a ring that has a scarab on it that I wear all the time. You know that ring. But that actually is really funny because I always thought scarabs were just going to eat you. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We'll go with quicksand.
It's going to tie in. At some point, you're going to know exactly what we're talking about. You'll probably figure it out sooner rather than later.
Okay.
But let's start with this, okay? I want you to imagine you are a flight tower controller, overseer person, okay? You're overseeing a typical flight training mission.
Why do you got to bring me to a flight again?
I know. You know I love them. Planes and boats, baby. Okay. So you start to get messages that sound like this. First,
so over this.
Both my compasses are out and I don't know how to get back. Then a break. Everything looks strange, even the ocean.
I'm done.
We can't find west. Everything is
wrong. Is this the
wrong.
Bermuda Triangle?
Oh, yeah, it is.
I was going to do this.
And then finally, only static. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm actually mad at myself that I didn't say the Bermuda Triangle when you asked me, because I literally started writing. I was literally going to do this.
It's all good. I got you. I beat you to it. Okay.
I would rather actually hear about it, so this is great.
So let's set the scene, all right? It's the end of 1945. World War II's just ended. So more specifically, it's December 5th, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, early afternoon.
Okay.
Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, who's an experienced pilot and veteran of several combat missions in World War II, is getting ready to fly a training mission, including himself and 13 other members of the Navy and the Marines. So the mission is dubbed Flight 19, and they were supposed to complete a training in regards to navigation and to practice bombing. Okay, so each of the men, though, they're fairly experienced, all right? They've at least, like the least experience of them has logged 300 hours of flight training. Taylor himself has been in the air for over 2,500 hours.
You just gave me PTSD of when you had to log your driver, like the hours you drove for driver's training.
I think I faked some of mine.
I faked all of it. Do you remember how much you had to do? Do you remember what it was?
Like 12 or 18 hours. It wasn't that much.
Oh, really? I thought it was like 100. I'm really
12 or 18 hours seemed long in high school. Okay. So anyways, these guys, though, they should have been able to complete the training, like no issues. The weather was great. Okay. The skies were clear, and they had a super experienced leader. Okay. Taylor and his crew, they do the pre-flight check on their 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers.
You don't even know what the hell that means.
I do know what the hell that means. They were actually planes that were built by General Motors for the wartime effort. They were single prop, single engine planes, heavier than heck, with wings that could fold back so you could pack a ton of them on an aircraft carrier. You want to try that again?
Heavier than heck.
They could hold either 4 500-pound bombs or 1 2,000-pound bomb.
Okay.
Still think I don't know what I'm talking about?
Well, you had to read all of that.
But... Each one of them could hold 3 men, a pilot, a bombardier, or bombardier.
What the hell's that?
The person who drops the bombs.
Oh.
and a turret man. So a guy on the gun. Okay. They complete their pre-flight check. Most things seem to be in working order, except none of the planes had a clock on them.
Can I ask you real quick? Did you say how long of a...
It's supposed to be 3 hours.
Okay.
I don't think I said that, but it's okay.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good.
You told me an envision. I need to know.
I know everything about these planes. Okay. So, anyways, like I said, there's no clocks on them, but the men decide that because each of them are wearing a wristwatch, that they'll be fine. However, remember, this is a navigation training that they're doing. And one of the purposes of this was like reckoning skills to figure out how to fly without instruments. So they would have to look at things like landmarks and track how much time had passed to figure out their approximate location.
Okay.
So clocks may have been helpful.
This just already sounds stupid.
All right. So they were supposed to go from Fort Lauderdale. Travel
Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Travel to the Dimsdale Dimmadome. I was just talking about Fairly Odd Parents with a coworker today. We have a contractor whose name is Trevor Turner, And I want to call him
Timmy Turner.
Yep, every time. Okay. Anyways, they're supposed to fly due east to Hens and Chickens Shoals. This is where they're going to practice their bombing. From there, they're going to continue a little bit more east and head then like northwest. All right. Fly over the Grand Bahama Island before finally turning back southeast towards Fort Lauderdale. Okay. So should have been easy. It was like each leg of the trip was like 50 to 60 miles, 3 hours, drop some bombs, navigate, come home.
Cool.
Okay, so Taylor and the 13 men in their 5 airplanes, they take off at approximately 2 a.m. from the NAS, or the Naval Air Station.
Can
you not ask me a question in the middle of a sentence and wait till I finish?
No, because I was just thinking about this. So because this is just a trial run, is that why you can fit more people on? Because didn't you say they have 13 men on this?
5 planes. Each of them holds 3 people.
Never mind. I forgot about the 5 planes.
Yep.
Okay.
2 of them only have 2 people.
Got you.
Yep. So they take off from the Naval Air Station approximately 2 p.m. No issues on takeoff. They hit that first leg. They get over to Hens and Chickens. The whole time they're communicating clearly with, I know it's just such a funny name, but they're communicating clearly with the flight control tower. Another training group actually sees them drop their bombs. And the first 56 miles perfectly. Okay. 2:30, they finish with their bombs and they start on the second leg of the trip. And this is when they go a little bit more east and then they head up towards the Grand Bahama Island. They were basically supposed to like fly right over the middle of the island, fly about 10 miles past it, and then start coming back towards Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
So this is when things start to get a little bit strange. All right. At first, the radio conversations between the pilots seems, I just said pilots. I can't, my L's today, but it seems to be pretty normal. It's actually overheard by not only the flight controller, but also other aircraft in the area. I can hear them. Everything is fine. At about 3:45 p.m., so just over like halfway in, the tower receives a message from Taylor, the leader, who now sounds just really confused, a little bit worried. And he starts to say, we can't be sure where we are. We cannot see land. Okay.
So unsettling.
Mind you, they should have, at this point, been 3/4 of the way to the Grand Bahama Island. Like, they should see that. They should also, they're only 60 miles from Florida.
I need to look this up just so I can.
Yeah, so they're only 60 miles from Florida, right? The flight control tower actually should still be able to see them. So if they're higher in the air than this tower, like, they should be able to see land, okay?
Okay.
Like I said, they should have been seen from the tower. The tower's looking out. The weather's clear. They can't see any aircraft in the sky where they should be. So around the same time, though, like, the tower starts losing contact with them. It's sort of coming in and out, but other planes overhear an unidentified transmission that they're pretty sure is from Flight 19, saying, I don't know where we are. We must have gotten lost after that last turn.
Because they were going from Florida. Okay.
So Florida, Hens and Chickens.
Yeah,
they were basically making a triangle, not.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. Yeah, okay.
Once the second group overhear that they must have got lost at the last turn, that the leader of that training group called out for those in distress to identify themselves so somebody could help them and asked what the issue was. Sometime later, the reply comes from Lieutenant Taylor. This one was actually picked up by the control tower as well. And he says, both my compasses are out. I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale. I'm over land, but it's broken. I'm sure I'm in the Keys, but I don't know how far down. So Grand Bahamas should be a big island, but when he's saying it's broken, now he's saying smaller islands. He thinks he's in the Keys, which the Keys and the Bahamas are, it's almost like he was pointed the opposite direction than what he thought.
Okay.
So from this transmission, though, we know that not only are both the main and the backup compasses not working, we can also start to deduce that there's some other mechanical issues, especially with the altimeter, because he's saying I can see land, but I don't know how far down. There's a gauge on a plane that should always tell you your relative height to sea level. So transmissions continue from here, and they start to hear from the other planes. And every article I read on this part was like, there's no official transcript, right? Some of them Some articles said some things, some said different things. Others, they had like the same kind of quotes, but it's hard to tell what's 100% truthful and what's 100% not.
I hate this.
But we start to get messages like this. So Taylor now, changing course to make sure we are not over the Gulf of Mexico, which would be on the other side of the state of Florida.
I'm so confused.
So Taylor again, changing course and heading due east. Now, and this one, he sounds like even more confused. Now, if they thought he was over the Gulf of Mexico, heading east would make sense because he'd be heading back to Florida. But these guys are supposed to be over to the east already. So heading east would just be heading out into the middle of the ocean.
No, I was just going to say, like, does he sound like really like disoriented and
super
like
disoriented, confused, and scared. And then it gets worse and worse. So now they pick up when he says that, other crew are saying, if we could just fly west, we would get home. Fly west, damn it. Like, they're starting to get angry. It's kind of unsure why the other 4 planes didn't kind of leave Taylor and head west.
Oh my God, I'm like so upset.
Most think, though, it's because they were military and they're, it's pretty ingrained.
They stick together.
And you're going to follow your lieutenant's orders.
Well, yeah, you just don't. You don't, like, no. Mm-mm. You don't leave your men.
Do you hear the plane going over my house right now?
No.
Okay, so after that fighting about east and west, there's a really long delay. And now from Taylor's plane, another person is speaking.
No.
Yeah. So the new lead person on the radio, whose voice is extremely trembly and bordering on hysteria.
Like just distressed.
He begins to say, we can't tell where we are and everything's cut by static. Everything is static. Can't make out anything. Static.
I hate this.
Finally, one message came in a little bit clearer that says, we think we may be about 225 miles northeast of the base, which is insane because they were supposed to be going 50 miles each leg of this triangle. So they should have never been more than like 60 miles from base.
Oh my God. I hate all of this.
Say it one more time. We don't understand that yet.
Listen, the listeners also hate all of this.
Okay, so after the 225 miles, they say that it's just incoherent rambling. And it's super obvious at this point that panic had just completely taken over the crew.
Oh, God. Could you imagine being on the other end of the controls and you're hearing all of this and you can hear the distress and like the upsetness and just like confusion and you just have no idea. Like you can't do anything. Well, you're helpless. I mean, you can try to direct.
They're actually doing stuff on the back end, and we're going to get to that. There's also other planes that knew their relative position before they disappeared, other training missions out. So they start to look for them too, and nobody can find where this group is at all.
Well, that's what I mean. I just, on the other end of the receiving end of these like messages, I would feel awful.
So what would you do if you were like in the plane? What would you do?
Crash it.
Okay, well, you might be right.
I think that I would. Okay, did you ever watch Fool's Gold?
No.
All right, well, whatever. They crashed the plane and it's funny. In the water. But I think that I would probably try to easily, like, as less of a blow as I probably could put it in the water. And then hopefully somebody could find me.
Smart.
I mean, I don't know if that's smart, but it's better than just being distressed and then running out of fuel and everything that I need.
Yeah.
I think I would rather try to, you can't land the plane in water, but essentially land in water as seamlessly as possible and then just hope somebody could find me because I'd be in one spot.
Okay, Lieutenant Taylor, you hold on to that.
Okay.
So some of the final transmissions are along the lines of, literally, this is next to my notes. Continue west until we run out of gas. You may have to pick us up out of the water.
Yeah, okay.
Then somebody else says, it looks like we're entering whitewater, which if they were flying still over the Caribbean, now they're out. Okay.
Ooh.
Static again. Then we're completely lost.
Oh God, this is so upsetting.
Then we get the one I read earlier. We can't find west. Everything is wrong. We can't be sure of any direction. Oh, even without compasses, though, these guys, they were on the navigation reckoning mission. They should have been able to use the sun as a location point. They should have been able to look for landmarks and use their watches. But for some reason, they're just all out of sorts and completely confused. I think the creepiest one of all is the everything looks strange, even the ocean.
Yeah, I don't
Kind of like you were saying, at this point, the base is trying as hard as they can to triangulate the location of the 5 bombers. Finally, it's now around 6 p.m. and bad weather starts to brew up. And
oh my God.
One last transmission comes through, and it's Taylor's voice again. And they hear, all planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless we find landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together.
I just got goose fucking bumps everywhere.
He's basically telling his men that when the first one of them runs out of gas, they all go down. And that's for search efforts, right? It's easier to find 5 planes
in one spot.
Exactly. So moments after this, all the
I think my brother would be proud that I came up with that conclusion.
Yeah, no, you were spot on. Kyle would be very proud.
I think. I don't know.
All right. So moments later, all the transmissions are replaced with just the buzz of static.
Oh, gosh.
That's the last anybody ever heard from the men of Flight 19.
My eyes are actually tearing.
It's super sad. And there's actually a lot of documentaries. I remember watching a couple of these on the History Channel with my dad as a kid.
Oh, God.
Do you remember... And this is why I asked you the question in the way I did, is because, like, I haven't heard about the Bermuda Triangle in a long time, but, like, late 90s, early 2000s, the Bermuda Triangle was on every channel.
You know what's really weird?
Yeah.
I saw a reel or something pop up, and it was one of these, like, whatever, and it was like, why did the Bermuda Triangle go away?
I'm going to touch on that a little bit, so keep that in your back pocket. So anyways, though, now it's 7:30 and the Navy finally starts search and rescue efforts. They send a pair of, now, I don't know what these planes are, and I should have looked it up, and I figured you were going to ask me questions on this one,
I
not
won't.
the bombers. But they were PBM Mariner flying boats. And I'm just guessing more like a cargo plane.
Okay, we'll go with that.
So these take off from
PPMer?
PBM Mariner. So they take off from an air station north of Fort Lauderdale. One leaves ahead of the other by quite some time, okay? They kind of try to follow the same flight path. The one that left ahead, 20 minutes into its flight, completely disappears from radar and is never heard on the radio again. Guess how many men were on that? Lucky number 13 again.
Oh my God.
So now 26 people have just disappeared from the sky. So yeah, 13 across the 5 bombers, and then 13 in the Mariner flying boat, just gone from the face of the earth. So over the next 5 days, more than 300 boats and aircrafts are sent out to look for Flight 19. They cover over 300,000 square miles of the ocean. They didn't find any floating wreckage, any floating bodies, not even an oil slick on top of the water, which you...
Right, like nothing.
There was like no sign of them. Just absolutely vanished without a trace. In fact, Navy Lieutenant David White is quoted saying, "They've just vanished."
Oh, great. Cool.
Right? Obviously, an investigation is launched, and they can't find any reason for what happened. I mean, these people were trained to navigate in non-traditional ways. They should have been able to rely on equipment. There's no way they should have been so far out or anywhere near the Gulf of Mexico.
But even, like, they couldn't have gotten that far, right? So, like, to not find 5, even a piece of 5 planes is mind-blowing.
So the official investigation, the Navy basically says that they disappeared due to causes or reasons unknown.
This sounds like last week's episode, the unknown. Like, oh yeah, we're done with this investigation because it's just unknown.
Okay, well, you guessed it really, really early on. So my next line says,
sorry,
I'm sure you guessed it by now, but we're talking about no other location but the Bermuda Triangle. Okay, so
I'm so glad you're doing this so I didn't have to, because I like listening.
I've actually tried it a couple other times, and I never thought to start with Flight 19. But okay, so the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, interesting.
It starts at Miami, Florida, down to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and then up to Bermuda. Now, the royal dumbass that I am, I've always thought that Bermuda was an island.
I think most people do.
It's an archipelago of 7 islands.
I
had no idea. Okay.
I didn't until fairly recently, so don't feel that bad.
Anyways, the entire triangle, remember they searched 300,000 square miles to find Flight 19. The entire triangle is 1,510,000 square miles. It is huge.
But they couldn't have gotten...
But they were definitely in this area.
No, they were in some part of the triangle.
Right.
But like they couldn't have gotten that far with like the fuel and the time frame. Like, okay.
In case you haven't heard, this is an area where planes, ships, people just vanish. It's rumored to be anywhere from 50 to a few hundred to 1,000.
It's more than
vessels.
50.
Right.
Like you had just recently said, this was like such a huge topic though.
Right.
This was our childhood scare.
Exactly. It wasn't, they didn't start documenting disappearances here until 1918, which is part of the problem of why we don't know how many really disappeared.
Well, there's more than 50.
And the name of the Bermuda Triangle didn't even come around until 1964.
Okay.
It was just kind of like a weird place at first. Then they finally started to like mark it off.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just because they started like kind of putting them all together that this is kind of where this last coordinate was, this, and then it kind of pinpointed into a triangle.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
And I think it's just like those Puerto Rico, Florida, and Bermuda are the only landmarks. Exactly.
Right.
So anyway, sometimes it's called the Devil's Triangle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard it called that in a while, and I'm like, oh yeah, we did call it that.
We did.
But it's always been like, the subject of folklore and mystery, and there's so many theories about what happens here that like we can't even name them all in one episode. Like I could spend.
Give me some.
Okay.
Give me some, baby.
Okay, ready? What do you think my first one's going to be?
Time slip.
It's my favorite, baby. Aliens.
Portal.
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, that.
Yes.
For sure.
So aliens could be alien attacks. This one I actually don't believe.
Mm-mm.
One of my favorites, though. Here's two of my favorites, actually. The Bermuda Triangle is above the lost city of Atlantis, which sunk into the ocean. Super highly technologically advanced civilization, I guess. That is rumored to have just disappeared.
Which is so crazy.
And this was actually made really famous by one author who, around when we started naming the Bermuda Triangle, he wrote a whole series of books about it being above the lost city of Atlantis.
Which is really weird, though, when you start to think about it. You're like, wait, what?
And then what you were saying, the portals. So there's a lot of people who believe vortexes and wormholes that just suck planes and ships right into alternate dimensions.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the more wild ones.
Are they wild? I don't know.
Well, compared to the next ones, I'll tell. They're a little out there. You know me. I'm going to give the Kara versions, and then I'm going to give the grounded in science.
I give both versions of everything.
The first thing that Kara would subscribe to version, because we know you don't love evidence.
It's a vortex, portal, time slip. Duh.
The other one, and this one is like always in the old History Channel docs, right, is methane eruptions from the oceans, which bubble out of the water and are known, like if a plane flies through methane, it's going to be too thin. They're going to lose lift and the engine can stall.
But couldn't you find the plane though?
Not if it sinks. I mean, but yeah, you should still find wreckage.
Some sort of evidence.
I think the best part about the methane, though, is I found one article that referred to it as oceanic flatulence.
I like that.
Right? It gave me a real good laugh. Also, so the Bermuda Triangle does fall along the Gulf Stream, which is where, hurricanes can originate from, or like these crazy storms can just like come on really suddenly and disappear. They would also have the power to push planes and ships way off course, so you'd be searching the wrong place.
Sure.
Or, sea monsters. There's always sea monsters. I don't know why I put them in the science area, but...
Well, there are sea creatures that we've never discovered and monsters and little cryptids down there. Like, hello. But I don't think that for this.
Right. Then there's some theories that fall right in the middle. So we do know in the Bermuda Triangle, there's a lot of really weird magnetic anomalies that cause compasses to not point to true north or to just start spinning around in circles. Nobody's really sure what causes that. Atlantis. Mm-hmm. Or it could be some strange thing with the Earth's magnetic field that just becomes twisted in that area. But nobody knows why, but we do have tons of documented evidence of tools and mechanicals just acting in ways that they shouldn't.
That just, I don't know, that brings you to just paranormal. That's just me.
Right. So I found a couple kind of lists, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but just some of the weirder disappearances. And at first when I started writing this, it was about the planes, and I'm like, why was the first one in 1947? And then I realized that, planes weren't around very much before then. But
Planes.
Right. So obviously we got our guys in 1945. 1947, a C-54 crashes off the Florida coast after a pilot loses control in super normal turbulence. The Star Tiger disappears without any explanation in 1948 with 6 crew and 27 passengers. Between 1965 and 2000, many private passenger planes just either go down and say they're crashing with no explanation or just simply disappear. I think one of the weirdest ones was, and recent, 2017, there's a private aircraft flying at 24,000 feet. It's in radio contact. It's on the radar. And just like 1 second later, radio's cut off. It vanishes. This one, the wreckage was at least found, but they could find nothing on the plane that failed.
Okay. No, go.
I was gonna say, so that's one of like the weirder planes, right? Boats.
Okay.
All the way back to the 1800s.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes they would disappear forever. Other times the boats would be found completely abandoned.
Right.
Just tons and tons. No signs of struggle, no anything. So there
and
was,
no signs of like piracy or like it just,
Yeah, no piracy. Sometimes they would be found wrecked, but with no bodies. Like there's just, with the boats, it gets
it's
really
just bizarre.
weird. Yeah. One of the weirdest ones I saw, and it's hard to tell if there's proof in this, right? So apparently the boat disappeared.
Okay.
2 years later, it was found floating empty.
Yeah.
And then at one point, it comes back to land with everybody on it.
Mm-hmm.
Years later.
Mm-hmm.
And they're somehow like fine.
But they don't have recollection, correct?
Yeah. For them, they thought it was like, they thought they arrived on time.
See, time slip.
I think if there's anything like for me, the portals and vortexes, because if we go back to like everything looks strange, the ocean looks strange. There was one I left out because I could only find it in one article, but they were saying that the ocean was turning from blue to green, and then they were seeing stuff in the air, like, and that's where I think like the aliens sort of come in. Like people either think alien or it's something with a
I don't
portal.
think it's alien. I think it's like a vortex portal time slip,
which could tie into Atlantis. So I don't know how much he ever got into like the ancient alien stuff and everything, but they think like the 7 wonders, like there's Stonehenge is a portal, that the Great Pyramids are a portal. So
if we don't think of it as aliens abduction, like okay.
So not like a like alternate dimensional portals. And so if maybe Atlantis is down there causing the magnetic things, and it was a portal at one point, sure. God only knows.
Whatever you do, don't tell me that it's some sort of government shit.
Nope.
I'm gonna lose it.
No.
Okay, thank God.
I mean, and no matter which way you choose to look at it, right? Like the ocean is just always going to be a huge force of nature. It's completely unpredictable. Something I found, so you mentioned this earlier about why the Bermuda Triangle isn't really talked about anymore, is that if you look at the Atlantic Ocean as a whole, there's actually so much evidence that proves that there are not more disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle than anywhere else in the Atlantic Ocean.
Well, yeah.
So that's why we might not hear about it anymore. But the Bermuda Triangle definitely has the strangest. If we want to have some concrete evidence to that, right? Do you remember our buddies, the Lloyds of London? Lloyds of London is from the Ring Madon episode.
Oh,
they are the biggest marine insurance company.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so they insure boats. They are in the business of knowing when and where boats disappear and how. And they still to this day keep the Bermuda Triangle as one of the top 10 most dangerous passages to travel in any ocean.
I think that's why we don't hear too much about it, though, because I just don't. Maybe I'm totally wrong. but I don't think people choose that as their path necessarily, like if they don't have to, because you don't have to in certain I don't know.
I mean, if you think about it though, and I think this is probably why, okay? I think I gave it some thought on why we might not hear about it anymore. Who would be heavily invested in making sure that people aren't afraid of the Bermuda Triangle? Let me remind you, Miami, Bermuda, Puerto Rico, which also encompasses the Keys and the Bahamas,
Yeah.
there's a big cruise money that does not want you to be
Yes.
afraid of this area.
I get that. But it was like, it's one of those things where it was just all of a sudden it's all you heard about, and then bam, nothing. It's not even like it was.
Because Carnival and Royal Caribbean got really, really popular.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but it's just really weird.
Well, you would never tell me I'm wrong. I'm never wrong.
No, but that's how I say, don't give me the government crap, because that was like one of the things where it was like, well, it was a government conspiracy. Like, they was doing shit in that sort of area. They didn't want people to know about it. If you came over that, I get
But if that was,
I don't want to hear that.
If that was the case, they wouldn't be flying training missions there.
Well, I don't know.
Most of the boats that were lost, the USS Pickering, the USS Wasp.
Listen, I don't know. Also, our government is screwed up.
I'm telling you, I don't think it's government this time.
No, I don't. That's why I did not want you to say that to me, because I don't think that at all.
So,
but it could be the fact that we don't talk about it and it's not like publicized. Could be the government shutting it down solely because it is a time glitch, warp vortex thing, and they don't want people to know about it. That's what that part I could be okay with.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, you're correct. Like the cruise liners and stuff like that. That makes sense.
Yeah, they definitely don't want you to be afraid of this area of the ocean.
No. Yeah.
So now that we've talked about everything that it could possibly be, let's go back to Flight 19. What happened to them?
No.
Tell me.
I told you.
What do you think?
There's a goddamn vortex. They're probably living somewhere still right now.
With Amelia?
Fine.
They're with Amelia Earhart, Elvis Presley, and Tupac, all right?
Well, no.
I feel like that was my mom when
that
we were
was my
kids.
shoulder.
Oh my God, was that your shoulder? I'll try to leave that
in. No, I think that it was a vortex. I think it was or a time slip, like something like that. And I think that that's why that one ship was like apparently gone for 2 years and then just came back seemingly fine, and just thought that it was when they left.
Yeah.
Hours before, whatever. That's what I think. A black hole, a time slip, vortex, whatever you want to call it in that realm. That's truly what I believe.
So here's the thing too, is I watched couple videos, and they were snippets from documentaries, and I remember watching some of these too. Like when I was younger, is they've done so many dives in this area to try to find, and they find pieces of planes, but they've always been able to rule out the fact that they were not these specific bombers.
Right.
Not a single piece of any portion of Flight 19 has ever been found. There was it was about 10 years ago that guy. Hold on.
Though.
Okay, go.
Well, you can't, like, Flight 19 makes you think one plane. This is 5.
Yeah. Five bombers collectively. So
no one has found a shred of 5.
5 bombers. Yeah.
5.
So there was that one guy about 10, 12 years ago who found a bomber that he found. They come up on, it was the engine at first, and they found the propeller and turret and wheel, and they're like, oh my God, we finally got this. And there's still a lot of people out there who believe it was part of Flight 19, but there's so much more evidence that have basically proven that it was. What is it? It was just a different type of bomber.
Oh, okay.
So there's enough evidence found to show, like, I think the engine was too small, and the part of the wing that they had. So remember when I said the wings folded back a specific way for them to fit on the carriers? Yeah. It wouldn't have. It was a static wing.
Yeah, so it just doesn't even make sense to claim that.
The funny thing is I loved the video where the divers think they're finding it, because there's like these big ass like catfish and like smaller sharks and lionfish everywhere. Okay, lionfish are poisonous sharks, and they're like trying to get there, and the fish are swimming up to them, and this one guy just takes his hand and like pushes a lionfish with one hand,
manhandles,
and then just like pushes a shark with another. Not even manhandling. He's just like, all right, poisonous fish, you go here. Shark, like, you just go gliding here.
Through.
I'm like, I would be like, get me out of this water.
SpongeBob-esque with like the jellyfish dance.
Exactly.
Like,
So yeah, that's a little bit of one of the disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle, Flight 19. I guess 6 technically, because it was 6 planes, and a little bit on all the rest of it.
Good job. And I'm all upset.
You're always upset.
I know. Every time Every time. Anyway, yeah, no, good job. Yeah, I'm upset and
so
troubled. I'm speechless.
All right, well, I'll say it for you. Like,
No.
subscribe, share. I'm not going to say the one thing. No, that's always you.
Oh,
Okay, now go.
that's my catchphrase. Like, subscribe. Yeah, you know, comment on our stuff. Give us your stories.
Tell
even
Kara
if you're
she's
just
pretty.
like, yeah, even if you're just like commenting like short little messages to us or comments on our stuff. Like, we love listening and reading.
It makes our day when you tell us you can't sleep because you listen to an episode.
No, it did not make my day. It made me feel bad.
Oh, I
will say the person that left this comment definitely doesn't listen to us. And if you do, I'm so super impressed. This was TikTok that you knew that I had a Supra. I'm impressed that you knew the car in one of our videos was a Supra.
Yeah, that was impressive too.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, with all of that being said, the most important thing is to creep it real, you oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oddity Shop.